Welcome to Off Screen. This week we're reading The Accountant by Bill Dubuque. A forensic accountant uncooks the books for illicit clients.
Okay.
Bill Dubuque is probably best known before this for writing the movie The Judge, which starred Robert Downey Jr. and Robert Duvall and Vera Farmiga.
Okay. Did you see that?
No, but it was like
remember.
it was like a prestige movie from 2014 that just I don't think was very good.
Okay.
So it didn't get any much award consideration. He also wrote a screenplay called The Headhunter's Calling, which I think is being produced and will be out at some point this year or next.
Okay.
Which is funny because he worked as a corporate headhunter before having success as a screenwriter.
That reminds me of that movie Headhunters, which is
the horror one?
I think it's a Swedish movie. It's like a thriller kind of. Have you seen it?
I haven't, no.
Oh, it's really, really good.
Interesting.
It's really cool.
And then obviously The Accountant is in theaters now, and it stars Ben Affleck.
Yeah, and Anna Kendrick, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Go on. Yeah.
She plays Dana, I think. I don't know if the names have changed since the script.
We read a 2000. No, the names are the same.
Yeah, Dana. She seems perfect for that role. I'm not a big fan of Anna Kendrick, but have I said that before?
I don't know. It's just a wrong opinion.
Whatever.
What's not to like about Anna Kendrick?
She looks like a squirrel. She has like a squirrel mouth.
That's just not nice.
You know, with her mouth and her teeth and her cheeks.
Okay. Jeffrey Tambor, John Lithgow, J.K. Simmons.
Dang, this is quite a cast.
Yeah. And more. It's directed by Gavin O'Connor, who I think he directed like a Wolverine movie. He directed Warrior, Pride and Glory.
Okay.
Jane Got a Gun.
Seems about right.
Yeah, seems about right. Also to note about Bill Dubuque, he sold a TV spec to Netflix called Ozark, which I think Jason Bateman is attached to star in.
Okay.
And it's got a lot of hype behind it as like their next big show.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
so that's that.
That's good. I can.
You want to do the synopsis?
Yeah. All right. Chris Wolf works as an accountant for mobsters and warlords all over the world, cooking the books, laundering money, or making it disappear altogether. He's hired by a high-end tech company called Creative Robotics to locate a leak in their financials. It seems that one of their employees is skimming a little off the top. For once, it's an honest job, but while Chris sets to work, agents in Washington are following the trail of his past crimes. The Department of the Treasury has just hired a new agent named Mary Beth Medina, who's eager to prove herself. She quickly identifies Chris from video footage of a bust on the Gambino crime family. While Mary Beth closes in on him, Chris discovers the source of the leak at Creative Robotics. It's none other than their CEO, Lamar, the same man who hired Chris in the first place. Turns out he only wanted to test the weaknesses of his own fraudulent financials. Now that Chris has found them, Lamar is prepared to kill him. Chris goes on the run, and before Mary Beth can catch up, she's told that she too was only being tested. Her superior in the Treasury Department is about to retire, and now she's to inherit his secret. Chris has been coordinating with him for years, tipping him off about criminal goings-on in exchange for his own legal immunity. Mary Beth warms to this role surprisingly quickly, acting as the new liaison between Chris and the Treasury Department. Chris, meanwhile, skips town to start another in a long line of new lives and new names, but always with the same job.
Nice.
That's more or less what happened, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple. No, you got it. But there's a couple of things I think are worthy of noting.
Okay.
First, that he has Asperger's.
Yes.
Or is on the autism spectrum.
Yeah. I probably should have included that.
Yeah, it's kind of his defining character trait, which the film then says, but he can be a superhero.
Yeah. More on that later.
Another thing, two more things.
Okay.
Or no, one more thing. He has a brother who always stuck up for him when he was like younger.
Right.
And it turns out at the very end, the person hired by Lamar, did you use the tech CEO guy, is actually the brother. And
Lamar hires his own brother to kill him unknowingly.
hires Chris's brother to kill
Yeah.
Chris.
So obviously that doesn't go down.
Instead, they just kill Lamar.
Yeah, instead, yeah.
Um,
That was pretty silly, but yeah, okay.
yeah, I think that's all.
All right.
So,
where to begin? What's some good stuff we can say? I thought it was okay, right? I mean,
it was a pretty decent read.
Yeah.
In a very movie-ish way. None of it feels particularly plausible.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
A lot of things about this are pretty ridiculous, I would say.
Yeah.
But
so it's not really grounded in reality at all.
Yeah,
but
which is okay.
But it was fast-paced. There was violence. There was sex. There was espionage and conspiracy. So all intriguing
hit all
stuff.
The marks. Yeah, the genre.
I
thought it was kind of nice the way they portrayed his autism. It was not like overdone. It was pretty sensitive about it. I felt like
but it swings in the opposite direction where instead of them treating it flippantly, they like valorize it. Where he has
I don't know.
Yeah, he is a superhero in this. He's a totally ridiculous character.
That was a totally separate problem.
But it's attributable to his.
You think so?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, he can do otherworldly math, writing with both hands at the same time, doing impossible calculations. The work of 10 people over several months in the course of one night. But he's also like this chiseled physical specimen who does crunches and pull-ups with perfect form at all times.
Can't have anything to do with his autism, can it really? Like the fact that he's like a demigod with like super strength and aim, like. But it's
still to the character. It still is the character because his character isn't described in any other way other than the fact that he.
Well, he's described in those ways that he has those skills. That's
but those are outcomes, not.
I don't think they're outcomes of the autism. I don't know.
No, those are outcomes of something creating something within him, motivating him to do that.
I mean, I guess the focus it would take and the practice and stuff. I kind of see what you're saying, but like, my point was just I was trying to say something nice about this, and the social interactions he has, I felt were understated, but like you could see that he was kind of struggling with reading people's emotions or what they're trying to get across, but it was subtle, and I didn't think it was overly. It wasn't overdone. Like it wasn't like a Rain Man situation. It was. I thought well done in the sense that it wasn't so much about like what he does. It's more of what he doesn't do. It's more of him not picking up on social cues and things.
Right, but until he finds the perfect woman for him, and is somehow elevated out of that.
Well, that wasn't an unawkward romantic scene between them. I thought it was still a little bit.
No, but don't you think? I don't know. It's just very movie-ish. This dude's been alive for 37 years, and then now is this perfect romantic partner for him.
I mean, it makes sense in a way. The girl, Dana, Anna Kendrick's character, is working for the same company that he's investigating, and she was the one who originally discovered the discrepancy in the books that drew their attention and had them hire the accountant. So,
which was go ahead.
So they have that in common. So I'm just saying that it makes some sense that they would like each other.
It felt like it didn't feel organic. It felt like a shoot-in romance.
Okay. Fair.
I don't know. Especially when it was probably very out of character for him to give two shits about Dana when shit hit the fan. To like basically risk her life to go back after her.
I don't know. It wasn't that much of a transgression to me compared to most movies. I thought that was pretty much par for the course.
Okay. I'm not sure why Lamar hired such a good accountant if he didn't want this stuff found out.
No, that was what I thought was the whole point, was that he did want it found out. He wanted to see what he needed to fix, or like, where he might get caught by someone else. I don't know, but that was stupid. That was kind of stupid. That was my biggest complaint about the story, was that his whole job ends up being sort of a joke, and then also Mary Beth's job ends up being a joke. Like, she's supposed to be supposedly finding out who this accountant guy is, but really it's all just a test because her boss already knows who he is and is in touch with him. And well, that was just dumb.
She's not really in touch with him. He's in touch through an intermediary.
Okay, but you know what I mean? Like, the boss didn't really want her to find out and catch him and stuff.
Right, he just wanted to pass it on.
Yeah. That was dumb. He did not need her to go and do all that investigating just for that. He could have just told her. I think the only reason that the story wanted her to be investigating Chris was, obviously to, put the pressure on. I thought that's kind of where you were going with that, but those stories seemed so disconnected to me. That was the problem. Like, she's investigating, like, the accountant, and she's sort of on Chris's trail, but they barely ever intersect, those two stories. Like, there wasn't...
Are they ever in the same room? I don't think they are.
And so there was, like, really no drama there for me. I didn't connect those two stories much at all.
Also, for someone that's been an accountant for, like, all sorts of drug cartels and mafia families... Mm-hmm. Like, isn't a tech corporation, like, the least interesting story that you could choose?
Oh, you're saying the screenplay in terms of the right... I guess, yeah. But I think they wanted that normalcy and like, legitimacy for this particular job. Okay. That way it could be more of a twist when it turns out they're actually also evil.
Isn't your dad a forensic accountant?
He does that, yeah, a little bit.
So, like, he's like Chris.
My dad's basically been Affleck, yeah?
Yeah.
You could say.
Dang.
No, I think it's usually not as exciting as this.
Well, I don't know. Maybe he's supposed to tell you.
He's, like, testified against some people and found some pretty crazy stuff, though.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
But yeah, this is not what forensic accounting is. It's not like a secret agent job, for sure.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that was, like, my other biggest complaint. That seems like a pretty common movie mistake, in my opinion, that everyone's good at everything.
Yeah.
That's always the case with movies like this, and it's obnoxious. Yeah, he's like an amazing sniper. I want to just read that workout routine that he has. What page was that on?
It's fine to be like one or two of those things, but it's everything here.
Yeah, he's just good at everything.
Not just good, the best.
Yeah. Okay.
He walks into a room and kills 8 gangsters, no problem, with their own weapons.
Yeah. Wait. Oh, here we go. This is his workout routine. Imagine, so this is Ben Affleck doing this. And he's like 50-something at this point.
What's he wearing? Is he wearing a shirt while he does this or not?
No shirt. It's actually, It specifies that here. It says, Chris, shorts, no shirt.
Okay.
Hangs beneath an overhead I-beam, fingertips curled around the beam's lip. He rips through pull-ups, upper legs held parallel to the floor, a cinder block suspended between bare feet. He's got a cinder... He's holding a cinder block between his legs and doing pull-ups.
Yeah.
And his legs are parallel to the ground. Yeah, there's...
Wait, how are his muscles?
Let's see what it says. Abs contract, veins cord, extraordinarily muscled.
Extraordinarily muscled,
yeah,
of course.
Yeah, if there is any doubt.
Yeah.
Also, he has some, like, gunshot wounds on his back, apparently. Just because that looks badass, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a lot of...
He had a scene like that in Gone Girl. Movie. Gone Girl too, right?
Every movie. Argo? Every movie.
I haven't seen Argo, but...
Every movie.
Okay. It's in his contract. He has to.
There's a gratuitous... he's objectifying himself.
Yeah. I think he's still reliving those glory days of, like, his late 90s, early 2000s stardom when he was in, like, Armageddon, and he was, like, a real heartthrob.
Yeah.
I mean... I think those same people that watched him in those movies are now, like, soccer moms or older even, like in their 50s too. And they're still clinging to that. They still are into him. But I feel
like he probably appeals to a younger demographic too. He doesn't look old.
Yeah, he does look pretty young still.
Like he's younger than... He is younger and he looks younger than Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, really?
I think.
That is surprising to me. Robert Downey Jr., maybe because of his irreverence and his personality, seems younger.
Well, he's 51 and Affleck is 44. So not even
that
old.
He's only 44. Okay, he's not that old, but still, he's probably not really going to be doing this workout routine. It's my guess. That's going to be a little bit of a camera trickery.
It'll probably just be a cinder block of styrofoam.
Yeah. So what are your, besides the him being good at everything, did you have other, like, complaints about the story itself?
I think you touched on the biggest one, which is the structure and how the two parallel storylines don't really add much to each other.
Right.
In any way. The twists and turns at the end are uniformly ludicrous.
It does seem like everyone has a secret in this.
Yeah,
there's like a twist for every character. And
they're the biggest, like most eye-roll inducing twists. Like it being the brother. Like, it makes sense that it was the brother again at the end, because why else would they have spent so much time with the Braxton character?
Yeah.
Building them up. We don't learn. There's nothing to the character. These aren't people. They're superheroes.
Yeah, well, that's not a reason for it to make sense that it's his brother, just because they set it up
on a writerly level. It doesn't make sense in a logical level, right. But in terms of
obviously on a writer level, yeah, he set that up because that's an important character. That's his brother, as it turns out. But yeah, that reminds me that scene where we are introduced to Braxton. That's the brother.
Yeah.
Who's like
what is Braxton? Is he? Would you say he's badass?
Yeah, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, cool. They don't say it, but I'm guessing he's also pretty muscular, pretty ripped.
You would assume. One would assume.
But if they want to throw in a shirtless scene with him too, just to confirm, that would help. No, but I was gonna say there's a scene with him where we're first introduced to Braxton that stuck out like a sore thumb to me. It was so weird. He's like him in the bar, and he picks a fight with those army dudes, you remember?
Mm-hmm.
That there's like no context for any of that, and it was really weird. We don't know who he is at this point. I don't think we don't know that he's going to be hired by Lamar.
That's when he gets the phone call from Lamar.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, but so he's just in a bar, and he picks a fight with these army dudes who are like disrespecting their ladies, and of course he steps in to defend them, and. That there's no context for that scene, and it felt so weird. I had no idea why we were seeing this, and then it never comes back later. That was just incidental that was just when he got the phone call.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The problem is that these aren't characters. They're not people. There's no emotions. There's no thoughts that are conveyed. They just do stuff in a badass way.
I mean, they all did have sort of motivations,
What was Braxton's motivation? He just was a mercenary.
His is just that's his job. That's
what was Ben Affleck's?
Okay, well, here's
of all the things he could choose to do, why did he do this? He could do anything in the world.
Well, I assumed that he also he got hired and he was interested in this because this was one thing I was going to say that I thought was effective and good. Mm-hmm. And I know I'm always talking about midpoints. This is another good example. This is a lot like the kind I was talking about in the Magnificent Seven, where it's in this case, Chris has started investigating Creative Robotics. He's looking into their financials, trying to figure out where this missing money is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the middle of that, their CFO, I guess it is, gets killed. He also gets offed by these...
Braxton kills him.
Yeah, Braxton kills him because I guess he knows too much or whatever.
Yeah, he was stealing money.
Well, no, it turns out the CEO was
They were both
Lamar.
stealing money.
Okay, they both, fine, whatever.
No one steals that much money, they said.
But, okay, fine. But so they made it look like a suicide.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess in retrospect, this doesn't work as well because Lamar, the actual CEO, he must have known he was the one that put the hit on Ed anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So he knows it wasn't actually a suicide. But what he tells Chris is he killed he killed himself. And to me, he's paid his debt. Even if he was stealing money from my company,
he paid that debt with his life.
So we're going to call off the investigation. So Chris, his job is over. But typical midpoint fashion, this is the decisive moment where he has to decide why he's really doing it. And even though Chris is not any longer hired to do this, he wants to find it. He just wants to get to the bottom of it for himself.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good midpoint. That's what they should do.
Okay.
And
it just doesn't really make sense to me that Lamar would say, yeah, I'm sure he didn't kill him. I'm sure he didn't commit suicide. I'm sure it was a murder. He's alluding, he's just building intrigue in Chris right now.
I suppose that, there is no other way. How could he have not...
Lamar knows who them is. He is them.
Yeah.
Just say, damn, that dude should have eaten a couple less cookies. My debt...
They make it look like he OD'd on his diabetic, his insulin medication.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know. I was trying to help answer your question of character motivations, and to me, even if Lamar had just rolled with the suicide story, Chris is now investigating this because he's just interested for his own reasons, and he's sort of obsessed with
a naturally curious
solving
person.
this puzzle. Yeah. That is a little bit stupid, but like
it's flimsy, but it's also in line with his character. Yeah, so I think it's okay. I just think Lamar adding to that is dumb.
I guess that was dumb. I forgot what that line. Yeah, you're right. He totally makes Chris even more curious about what's going on when he's trying to do the opposite.
And if Lamar should have vetted who he was hiring a little bit better. If this guy is doing shit for terrorists in the Middle East, mobsters in New York,
it's probably not going to be
drug
easy.
Cartels in Colombia, maybe don't get involved with him when you really just want a security test of your own fraudulent activity.
Yeah, fair. I thought it was sort of interesting, his little scheme that he had going with the embezzling or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I like that too.
If I understand this correctly, Chris, he kind of cracks the case when he realizes that Lamar's doing basically what this other guy did back in the 80s, which I don't know if this is a true story or not, but...
Also, I had a problem with how that was described. He names drops exactly who it was and what they were doing.
Yeah?
When... Before that, he had made such a point of not talking about any case that he had worked on.
Well, he didn't work on that case.
Well, I feel like he wouldn't.
I thought it was just a famous case.
Is it?
I don't know.
Okay, maybe I read it wrong.
Whatever.
Okay.
He realizes that Lamar's doing the same thing as this other guy who basically he was stealing money from his own company, but then he realized, well, now if I ever stop, it's going to look suspicious. Suddenly the company's going to be making more money for no reason. So... what he does is he waits until right before they're about to go public with the company. Then he does start paying some of that money back in. So it looks like the company is doing really well and their stock value goes way up. And then he makes bank when they go public.
So basically, by stealing the money, he lowers their profit. So it looks like not as profitable a company. Then he starts funneling it back in tax-free.
Right.
Because he stole it. And then revenues rise, and then and then the hype builds around the company, and then they go public, and he makes
more than he could have ever stolen.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that was a cool scheme. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Well,
what?
I don't know. Were there arcs to any other characters here?
Yeah, I don't know. Chris just keeps doing what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
He goes on the run and starts a new life, supposedly. I guess he's changed somewhat by the fact that he's now opened up to someone, and he's like, they have a little button at the end of Dana's story. She was originally interested in art, but her parents kind of pressured her into going into accounting. And he, as it happens, has been paid in a lot of artwork by these like warlords and people who don't want anything on the books. They'll just pay him in like unoriginal
a Renoir
or something. Yeah. So he sends her one, and that's like his way of saying thanks. And I don't know, maybe who knows, maybe they'll keep in touch and they'll still have a relationship. Maybe. But so he's,
but we don't really
changed
see
a little bit in that sense.
What's going to happen with him and his brother? Do they just part?
I don't know. Maybe they'll be reunited. Yeah, I don't know about character arcs, though.
Yeah,
really.
I don't know what's the point of even delving into Mary Beth's backstory.
Yeah, that was too much. I mean, like I said, everyone has secrets in this. It's ridiculous. Like Mary Beth was.
It's fine, but they're not interesting secrets.
Yeah,
most of them.
She was hired by the Treasury Department, and she seemed to have like all these great credentials and stuff. But then, I guess it turns out she was lying about that, and she's like actually has a criminal background.
No, I think she had I think it was true. She just had a troubled upbringing and troubled. Like from 4 to 8, she was in foster care and lived a lot of. From 4 to 18, she was in foster care and lived in a lot of different places.
Okay, and she
had like
that
a
up.
rap sheet. Yeah, that was sealed.
Yeah, whatever. That was definitely super unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I was very surprised. Like, I don't know if you could call this a character arc either, but I was very surprised how quickly she accepted her role after learning that secret about Chris working with the Treasury Department. And it's really not with the Treasury Department. It's really just with that one guy that was her boss. And now that he's retiring, he's handing it over to her. But
it just seems really dumb for Ray to put Mary Beth onto investigating Chris as a test.
Yeah.
Like, these people are creating really dicey situations where they need a very specific, unlikely outcome to be happy.
Yeah.
When they could probably have a decently similar chance of being happy or getting the outcome they want by doing nothing.
Basically, yeah.
Like, Lamar's a smart dude. He doesn't need to hire a forensic accountant to check out how good he is in embezzling.
Yeah, you would think too
that sort of fraud happens like on every IPO.
I don't know. It was just all way too complicated unnecessarily.
It was. This isn't stuff people would do, and I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
The twists and things didn't really play off each other at all. It just seemed like one-off little surprises for each character,
right?
None of which informed the others.
It's a lot of loose threads.
Yeah,
a lot of loose and implausible threads.
Yeah, I guess I don't really have anything else substantial to say. Really, you?
Do we talk about how Chris walks into a mob hangout unarmed and kills them all with their own weapons?
No, we didn't. That was the video footage that Mary Beth ends up using to identify him, but yeah, I don't know really what was going on there.
Also, the nursery rhyme that he was humming, that doesn't go anywhere. Like, Mary Beth uses that at one, it comes back.
Oh, you're right.
She identifies the nursery rhyme then, but it doesn't play any further role after that.
I guess all it was that she saw in the video footage that he was repeating this nursery rhyme, and that she consulted some, like, psychologist person, I think, who said that could indicate that he has some autism or something. Yeah. And she used that to help profile. She went through a bunch of like people's records and ended up finding Chris. So it kind of led her to her answer, but
yeah, I guess. I think it should have had another.
Yeah, it wasn't much of a payoff. Yeah. All right. Well, should we wrap this up?
Yeah. Do you want to talk about OSPodcast.com?
Yeah.
Our email address, which is info@ospodcast.com. Our Facebook, which is facebook.com/OSPodcast.
Mm-hmm.
Twitter @OSPodcast. We're on YouTube.
I really want to complete the brand. We're so close. We have the OS Podcast everywhere except YouTube.
Yeah, it would be fantastic.
It's gonna be so satisfying.
Yeah, we're almost halfway there.
Okay.
But also our bread and butter still remains iTunes.
Yes, of course.
So if you could subscribe to us there, or like and review the review.
Review the review. I guess that's what you would be doing. It would be
I guess
very,
so.
very meta.
So there's that, all that, iTunes, Off-Screen Podcast.
Steven's very tired.
I'm tired. I think that covers it. We're on Stitcher, right?
Oh yeah, whatever that is.
Yeah,
we're on it. Forgot about that.
So this movie is in theaters now. By the time you're listening to it.
Yep.
Daniel, would you recommend Would you recommend the screenplay on which it was based?
No, I can't say I would.
Okay.
I don't think I hated it as much as you. You seem pretty down on it. I would pass on the writer, because we didn't really talk about this much, but to me, it was all merely adequate. It was like really, like I said, par for the course. It was hitting a lot of these sort of genre beats that it always.
But
these kind of scripts always do.
You have to unify it in a. You
Yeah.
have to create a like. It doesn't have to be grounded in reality, but it has to. But on whatever plane you're pitching it at, it has to be consistent.
Yeah, like it has to follow its own. What's the
internal logic?
Yes. Yeah.
Which is doesn't.
Which I
don't know if this doesn't, but.
Well, okay. That's why I'm okay with the script. I think I was gonna at least consider the script, but now I feel like you're judging me for saying that. But
I'm not judging you.
I'm definitely gonna pass.
I didn't hate it.
Okay, but I'm definitely passing on the writer just because there was nothing that stood out. There was no like personality to speak of here. The description lines, the style was all like pretty unremarkable. It was just plain by the books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm gonna pass on the writer. I will consider the script at least.
That's fine. I'm gonna give it a double pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like downright hate or anything like that. It's just not good enough for me to consider. We have next week though. you want to do The Girl on the Train? But it's out in theaters. It came out on Friday.
Okay.
But so it'll be a week in theaters, but it's like it's based on a bestseller.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay, next week we're going to read The Girl on the Train by Erin Crecido Wilson. A divorcee becomes entangled in a missing persons investigation that promises to send shockwaves throughout her life.